All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 0th lecture of our decal, Introduction to Full Stack Development. We are very excited to have everyone. And this semester, we have over 50 people. We're super excited to be offering this decal this semester. And yeah, I'm very looking forward to explore the web development world with y'all. So let's get started. Cool. Can everyone see the slides? Thumbs up, some sound. Yes, okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, just like I said, welcome to the Full Stack Decal. And this is our 0th lecture. It's going to be more chill and more informal. And we'll be discussing logistics, some expectations of the course, and the overall entire course structure. We'll also be teaching some Git in the end. Yeah. Now, before we dive deep into the content, let's actually meet the course staff. So let's just do a quick round of introduction. I can start. My name is Alex. I'm the facilitator of the course. Samaras, are you here? Is Samaras here?
Yeah, I can go. So hey everyone, nice to meet y'all. My name is Mark. I'm one of the other co-facilitators of this course, and I am a not. I think
Is Samaras freezing for just me or someone else as well?
Oh yeah, it's happening to me as well. Samaras is kind of like frozen.
Sorry, man.
For a bit. It's fine, Samaras. We can get back to you. Yeah, you're really lagging. But yeah, Vicky, are you here? Is Vicky here? I guess Vicky is probably not here. But yeah, Vicky is also the co-president of web development at Berkeley. And if you haven't heard what Samaras just said, he's also the co-president of web development at Berkeley. So yeah, and our club used to be an education branch within our decal used to be our education branch within our club. So yeah, the club essentially has a very tight relationship with the decal. And yeah, Juve, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, okay, hi guys. I'm Drew. I'm your backend TA for this semester. So I'll be giving a lecture on, or a series of lectures on the MERN stack. I'm a sophomore studying bioengineering and electrical engineering and computer science. I'm really passionate about like biosensors, hardware, if you guys are into hardware, but also patient analytics, healthcare analytics, patient connectivity. It's just one of the many cool things that you can do with web dev. If you didn't come to the info session, I gushed about it there. But yeah, that's me. I look forward to seeing a lot of you in lecture. So hopefully you guys stick around.
Yeah, cool. And I think Isabel's not here, but she's going to be the design TA. Essentially, if you choose to join the front track, she'll be teaching you how to do UI and UX and how to use Figma. And Abby, do you want to go?
Yeah, my name's Abby. I'm going to be a front-end TA here. I was on course staff last semester. Yeah, I'm a junior studying CS. Excited to teach you guys about React and all these exciting front-end technologies.
Yeah, great. Kim, do you want to go next?
Yeah, for sure. Hello, I'm Kimberly. I'll also be a front-end TA. Yeah, excited for y'all to learn a lot this semester.
Arushi, do you want to go next?
Absolutely. Hello. My name's Arushi. I'm a junior studying computer science and economics. I'm one of your front-end instructors. And I've been teaching this course as long as this course exists. It's been years. I cannot believe I can say that. I am very old. I'm also in Moffitt right now. So if anyone else is here, come say hi. but I'm very excited to meet all of you remotely and in person.
Yeah, Hector, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. Hey guys, I'm Hector. I'm a junior studying Geeks, and I'm going to be a tutor TA this semester. So if you have any questions or any concerns, don't hesitate to come to me. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all this semester.
Yeah, I think I've accidentally used the old slide, but Wally, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, my name's Wally Latif. I'm a junior studying comp sci and cog sci. I'm also going to be a tutor TA for the semester. Looking forward to meeting everybody. And Arushi, I'm also in Moffitt.
Crazy.
Yo, I just left Mothman and go back home. But yeah, Wally, sorry about that. Yeah, we accidentally used the old slide. Wally just joined us like several weeks ago. So yeah. And now let's talk about attendance first. So to keep track of attendance, instead of using Google Form, we use the Zoom chat functionality. So it's pretty easy. Essentially, you go to chat, and right now in the everyone channel, like everyone in meeting, you sent a present. Yeah, I think you all get the idea. And after you send present, like after the meeting finish, we'll run a Python script and essentially extract everyone's name. And yeah, this way we can count attendance. All right, cool. Yeah, thanks a lot for doing that. I saw a lot of presents in the chat. Okay, and please don't worry about like capitalized or like capitalized P or not capitalized P. We're going to compose this like present. So yeah. Okay, cool. Now let's get a brief overview of why choosing our decon. So first of all, full stack development. By learning full stack development, it can really prepare you for entering the industry. In case you haven't known, the industry, most of the company in the industry will usually build a website first and then move on to some mobile development app. And so essentially, all the skills that you learn here in this course is very, very important when you go out into the wild and when you're applying to all the cool jobs, you will be using these web development skills. And just like I said, it's very practical, all things you'll be learning, and it will opens up tons of opportunities. Also, we are providing a very smooth learning curve. This is the result of 2 iterations of this course. Right now, we have make sure we have provide enough handholdings throughout this course and throughout the homework, throughout the projects, and we make sure that you have a great learning experience. And finally, it's fun. It feels really good to be able to see how you can create a website from scratch and to see how your idea can become an actual project. Yeah. And here are some logistics. We have 2 lectures per week, and 2 lectures are both 1.5 hour. The first lecture happening on Tuesday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. And the second lecture happens on Thursday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. as well. Educators will also be holding office hours throughout the week. And office hour times haven't been determined yet, but we will be releasing a calendar on the Notion page. Inside, we'll be marking all the office hour time, all the office hour location. And just like the slides indicate, they will be in person, also Zoom with us, office hour. And so for homeworks are due before next Tuesday's lecture. So essentially after this lecture, we'll be releasing a homework. It's called Getting Started. And that homework will be due before the next Tuesday's lecture. And usually we'll release homework on a Tuesday lecture and the homework will do like in a week. This week is a special case, but this week's homework is pretty light, so yeah. And we'll also be having smaller projects throughout the track. And these smaller projects are pretty fun, and also there will be project parties throughout the semester. At the end of the semester, you will have the chance to join in a team of 4 and to work on a really cool final project. Okay, now here are more logistics. So all materials will be on Notion, and all communications will happen on Slack. And you should have been invited to a Slack workspace. And if you're on waitlist, we probably didn't include a Slack link. And you will be officially invited to a Slack channel once you can enroll in the decal. Yeah. And we'll be giving our Notion tour at the end of the lecture, so y'all can be familiar with how the Notion thing work. And attendance and homework policies. Just like I said, homework is assigned and released at the end of the Tuesday lecture, and be sure to finish it. And in terms of attendance, you are allowed up to 3 unexcused absences before receiving an MP in the class. So yeah, be sure to come to the class. And if you cannot come, please message or the core staff team before the lecture. All right, cool. Now let's talk about course structure. Actually, before we move on to course structure, do we have any questions? Let's see. Okay, so there's a question. If we are on the waitlist, do we still do the homework for next week? Yeah, you should probably do the homework for next week, but it's a pretty light homework. If you are familiar with Git, it's essentially like practicing how to upload files with Git. It's pretty straightforward. It will probably take only like 30 minutes if you haven't if you don't know like any computer science at all. If you are familiar with computer science, for instance, if you have already taken like 61A, it will probably take you only like 10 minutes. So yeah. And for those of you who just joined, please type present in chat. This way we can mark your attendance. All right. So yeah. Cool. All right, now let's go over course structure. So first of all, course summary. This is a 11-week decal, and we'll be having 22 lectures, 2 lectures per week. And after the basic stack, which will be around 3 to 4 weeks, you will be able to select your favorite branch. And as you can see from the graph on the left, there are 3 stacks. Yeah, first is the basic stack that everyone needs to go through, and then you need to choose between front-end curriculum or the back-end curriculum. And to ensure that you will have a truly full stack experience, we're also offering back-end and front-end primer to each branch. So essentially, people who choose a front-end curriculum will also get a taste of the back-end during the back-end primer lecture and during the back-end primer homework. And for the backend curriculum, vice versa, it's the same. And there will also be an integration project, which I believe is going to be the 3rd project. Integration projects, it's a chance for you to kind of like connect the front end and back end together. And this way, it helps you to, for instance, if you choose to be a backend developer, it really helps you to know like how front end is trying to communicate to the backend. And yeah, you will also be working in a team setting a lot, especially in the final project. So yeah. All right. And this is the basic stack. So for the first 4 weeks, we'll be going through the basic stack. So what's the basic stack? You will be learning the building blocks of web development, and you will become more and more familiar with the version control tools that we'll be using. We'll be using Git. Most of the companies nowadays are using Git, so it's a pretty good tool. And there will also be 3 homeworks and 2 basic projects. I know that sounds a lot, especially like 2 basic projects, but we have provided a lot of guidance, and the 2 basic projects are actually pretty fun. And now let's go over the tech stack for the basic stack. So on the left here, you can see HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. these are the kind of like the three main technologies that we are going through in the basic stack. HTML, you can think of HTML kind of like as a skeleton of a website. And this is kind of like the actual content of the website. So you see a paragraph, it's going to be HTML. If you see kind of like a button, it's going to be HTML. So what's CSS and JavaScript? First of all, what's CSS? CSS is what makes the website pretty. And if there's only HTML, you will only see like a very kind of like a Nike feeling website. So essentially like only black and white text and only white background. However, with the help of the CSS, you can really make some really fancy buttons, really fancy navigation bar. Essentially, CSS is what makes the website look good. And JavaScript is what makes the website smart. So if you have ever been on, for instance, Amazon, and when you're trying to buy something, when you click the purchase or the checkout button, it will redirect you to another page, and it will like show your total, show how much you need to pay, show your address. That's all accomplished by JavaScript. And with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can already build some very, very cool websites. So these are the three techs that we will be focusing throughout the basic stack. And here is a globe. Here, the globe icon stands for the internet. Essentially, we'll also be going over how internet works throughout the basic stack. So yeah. And also here, there's a GitHub icon, and the GitHub icon is essentially stands for the version control tools that we'll be using. We'll also teach you how to use Git, how to safely use Git. So yeah. Do we have any questions so far for the basic stack? There's a question in chat. So what's 536? Wait, what's 536 again? Oh, I see. 536, huh? I don't actually know. Oh yeah, thanks a lot, Abby. Yeah, it stands for HTML5, CSS3, and ES6. Yeah, it's kind of like the version of all the technologies that we're using. Yeah, thanks a lot. Oh yeah, I didn't actually notice this. Do we have any other questions? What does ES stand for? ES is essentially kind of like another name of JavaScript. So yeah. For those of you who just joined, please type present in chat. This is how we mark attendance. Oh, I just heard someone join. Okay, so for those of you who just joined, please type present in chat. So like type present. This is how we will mark your attendance. So yeah. All right, cool. Now let's move on. So front track. Front track will be teaching you how to use React and how to do some design. And as you can see, there will be 4 React lessons, 2 React labs, and also 3 UI and UX lessons. Inside the front track, we'll be teaching you how to do React, how to do UI and UX design principles. We'll also be going over Sass, and also we'll be teaching you how to use Figma. And Figma, for those of you who don't know, it's a design tool that's right now that's very popular. And well, you can use it to prototype a lot of things. For instance, the slides right now is prototyping Figma. So yeah. And we will also be teaching you React. So what's React? React is essentially a front-end framework, and it's used to, it's kind of like an update on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It provides you with a kind of like better control of the entire website. So yeah. And sorry, give me 1 sec. All right, sorry, I'm back. I was just moving. And yeah, throughout the front end track, we will be having 4 React lessons, 2 React labs, and 3 UI UX lessons. So what's the difference between lab and lesson? Lab is essentially kind of like a more hands-on way to engage with the material, where the lecturer will go through a lesson, and then you can try to follow along while the lecturer is coding. So yeah. And for the front end track, there will also be some backend primer lessons. In total, there will be 4 homeworks and 2 projects. And here we will also be covering a summary of the backend track. So for the backend track, we'll be teaching you how to use backend server and backend databases. And for the server, we have Node.js and also Django. For the database, we are covering Postgres and MongoDB. We'll also be teaching you how to use cloud. And the tech stack that we have chosen is AWS. And throughout the backend track, we'll also be having 3 front-end primer lessons and 4 homeworks in total and 2 projects. And do we have any questions so far for the front-end track or the backend track? Let's see. Someone just messaged me saying sorry, I was late. Don't worry, if you're late, it's okay. Just type present in chat. This is how we mark your attendance. And let's see. So yeah, if you choose one track, can you watch the lessons for the other track? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks a lot, Drew, for answering that. And are the slides going to be available after lecture? Yes. Is it possible to be able to access them during lecture in case we miss something? Yes. If you want to access the slides right now, you can go onto the Notion page and then go to the lesson plans. And if you click on the first lesson plan, there will be like a slide link inside the first lesson plan. But we'll be having a Notion tour shortly. So yeah. Will there be Zoom recordings too? Yes, there will be Zoom recordings. All the recordings will be uploaded to YouTube. And also all the recordings are publicly available. So if you want to share it with your friends, you're definitely welcome to do so. This consider operative CS units. I don't think so. But you might need to double check with the advisor. I haven't checked with my advisor yet, but yeah. Apparently I need access to your slides even with my Berkeley account. Oh, sorry about that. Well, we will, yeah. We haven't moved the slides out of the folder. So yeah, we'll be doing that after lecture. All right, cool. Now let's talk about, oh, okay. So there's also a final project at the end of the semester. And for the final project, it's really exciting. It's kind of like a hackathon style, but you have actually 3 to 4 weeks to do it. So it's kind of like, I would say it's kind of like a startup project-ish thing. So that's really cool. You will be working in a team of 4 or 5 students to create the ultimate project. And at the end of the semester, you will also be showing off your hard work to everyone in our final presentation and compete for a grand prize. Alrighty, do we have any questions for the final project before we move on to the Notion tour?
I have a quick question about the project.
Yeah.
It says that we're going to be in teams of 4 to 5. I'm wondering if these are only students in our track, or are we going to be combining tracks so we can take advantage of both front end and back end for our project?
Yeah, great question. So we will be combining tracks, and we will do the group forming for y'all, and essentially we'll be combining, for instance, like 2 front end with 2 back end and 1 design, or like 2 design with 1 front end and 2 back end, something like that. We'll make sure the groups are balanced.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, so there's a question. What happens if there's an imbalance with the tracks? Well, people get forced into the other track. So based on the Google form that we have sent out, so like the interest form for the decal, I feel like we have a pretty good balance right now, but we'll see. Will anything be happening this semester in person? The answer is yes. We will be holding an in-person project party, in-person office hour. I mean, if you want, you can just hang out with the other peers or course staff in person as well. We just can't have the lecture in person, unfortunately, given the X department guidance. But yeah, everything else can be happening in person. All right, cool. Yeah, now let's move on to the Notion tour. All right, can everyone see the Notion page?
Yep.
All right, cool. And let's see. So this is our Notion page. And I think it's also at the fullstackdecal.com. If you visit that website, it's going to redirect you to this Notion page. For those of you who don't know, Notion is a note-taking app. And but right now it kind of like grows out of the note-taking app. It's kind of like taking on the job of Google Docs and Google Docs, Google Drive. And we found it to be a very, very good tool to hold all the relevant materials, all the relevant information here. So yeah, personally, I take all my notes in Notion. So, and let's see. First of all, there's a table of contents here. And the first part is announcements. So all the important things will go here. Like all the urgent and important things will go here. And so for instance, right now we have the Zoom link here, and you can also visit the past announcements here. So in the past announcements tab, you can see the application, the info session, yeah. We'll probably leave the Zoom link here for y'all to get easy access. So yeah. And this is some text to like welcome you all. And here's the important stuff. So first of all, this is a course structure. It's kind of like a more detailed view of the slides that I have just gone through. And here's the course information. You can find the title, the units, the facilitators, the sponsor. Oh yeah, and one cool thing about our decal is our sponsor, Josh Hug. For those of you who don't know, Josh Hug is kind of like a pretty popular professor in X department and CS department. So yeah. And this is kind of like the official website of our decal. But yeah, and we don't require any prereq, and there's no textbook needed. And here is the course schedule. If you forget the lecture time for some reason, you can revisit here. And here are some learning goals, right? And so these are kind of like the more logistic stuff. And here inside the course content tab, these are kind of like the more important stuff. I don't know whether I should say it this way, but yeah, let's see. So if you click on the lesson plans, here are all the lesson plans that we will be teaching throughout the semester. And this is kind of like a table, a list view. And you can see it's sorted by the lecture date. And as you can see, this one corresponds to the lecture that we are teaching right now. Inside this lesson plan, there is a lecture slide here. There will also be so this will also be kind of like the YouTube video here. But yeah, and here are our lesson plans. Lesson plans are kind of like, you can think of it as lesson notes for a lesson. So this is kind of just like a supplement material for y'all to review if you find the lecture or the slides to be confusing. But yeah. And once we go through the basic stack, as you can see, you will be moved on to front-end stack or the back-end stack. And there's also some supplement material along the way. These are like optional, but we highly recommend you to view it, as this will help you build your kind of like web development knowledge graph. And so yeah, this is the lesson plans Notion page. And so yeah, other than the lesson plan, the assignments tab is also very important. And as you can see, there's a table here. We will be releasing the homework usually like a week ahead. So this week, we have already released homework that's like due next week. And we'll also be releasing the next homework, just in case if you're like interested in, being ahead. And yeah, so in the getting, if you click on the homework, it's all like, I know there seems to be a lot of readings, but this is just us trying to provide a lot more handholding throughout this course. And you can just scan through it. But those readings are pretty helpful, to be honest. And at the end, we'll also be talking about how to submit. The first homework is just like how to use Git. We'll also be demonstrating how to use Git at the end of this course, so it should be fine. And yeah, if you want to see like one of the homework, you can just click open. And the due date is also marked here. So yeah, that's the assignments tab. And we also have the course policy tab. And the course policy tab is where we keep all the course policies, for instance, grading breakdown. And we also have the class management policies, for instance, communication. We will have everything on Slack. Attendance, you are allowed up to 3 unexcused absences. But yeah, I think we haven't covered late work yet. But yeah, essentially, assignments that are turning less than a week late will be capped at 75% credit. And anytime after that will be capped at 50% credit. Okay, hope that makes sense. And yeah, and other things like the usual stuff. Oh yeah, for the accommodations, if you need any accommodation, please reach out to us. We are more than happy to accommodate you if you like need anything in any ways. So yeah, please make sure you are like, stay comfortable during the entire semester. Yeah, academic honesty, just please don't copy code. And it's very easy to find out in the course because we have so few submissions. It's all right to copy code from the website, from the other website. So for instance, if you see a snippet of Stack Overflow and you want to copy it, that's definitely fine. But don't just copy others' assignment. And yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat right now. So when should we? There's a question in chat. When should we be reading through the supplement material? Is it already organized by the order we should look at it? I believe so. Yes. Yeah, you might find some supplement material kind of like in the end, and those supplement material are kind of like you can read it once you finish the course, or if you have any spare time. That's kind of like, yeah. And oh yeah, Drew and Abby mentioned that if you copy code for online, please credit. You definitely, if you copy like little snippets from Stack Overflow, you definitely can do that, but please credit. And let's see. First homework due Tuesday, midnight or before lecture. It's going to be before lecture. So yeah. I feel like even though it's before a lecture, we'll probably make it due before midnight, just to give you all some grace period. I think that's what we will do. All right, cool. And here are some key resources. So for instance, if you click on here, you can find the syllabus. The syllabus is kind of like a more formal way of viewing all the course schedule. It's essentially the same thing. You can look at Notion. And here's the course schedule. And this is kind of like a calendar view of all the course schedule. So for instance, here, this is HTML, and this will be in CSS. This page is in trash. We'll fixing some links shortly. But yeah. And you can access all the lecture recordings here. If you click on the link, it will direct you to our YouTube channel. And you can also find the videos from the previous semesters. So if you decide to you're really into web development, you kind of want to get ahead, you can view some of the lectures here. And yeah, so this will be our GitHub repo. And there are also, this is kind of like a compiled resources for web design and web development. And yeah, this is, I believe, the application. And down below, here are all the course staff and our contact. But yeah, and also our past course staff and contributors. Cool. Do we have any questions for the Notion tour? Okay, any chance we covered D3.js totally fine? If not, a special lecture perhaps. Yeah, very good question. Unfortunately, we won't go into D3.js, but this is for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like a graphing, it's a vector graphing library, and it's very easy to use. It's very powerful. And if you're interested in D3.js, you can check out some resources on the web, and feel free to use it. If you're like very into it, feel free to use it in the final project. That Notion is beautiful. I agree. Alrighty. Let's go back. Notion's where? Okay. All right. So our goals. First of all, we want to build a strong learning community. At our club and also at our decal, we emphasize on people. After all, it's kind of like, it's not the websites that we're building, it's really the kind of like the connection between us that we are forming. So please be respectful to each other, and please be open-minded. And yeah, let's build a strong learning web development community together. And we are also aiming to spark discussions and create an open, safe environment for everyone to be in and talk to each other. And so if you have witnessed anything that makes you uncomfortable, feel free to let us know. And if you want any accommodations, also let us know. And we also, another goal is definitely help you achieve your web development knowledge. Essentially, we want you to, after this course, to be able to take on a project by yourself and to make some pretty websites. And also, after the course, we hope we can open up some web dev opportunities for you. Right now, the web dev opportunities are pretty good. Lots of companies, especially quite a lot of startups, are definitely in need of web development talents. So yeah. Also, we are trying to give you kind of like a hands-on development experience. You won't, this kind of lecture is very seldom. Like we won't do this kind of like straight talking lecture for the rest of the semester. It's usually kind of like coding and then lecture, coding and then lecture combined together. So yeah. All right. And after the course, we hope that you can equip yourself with the latest web development knowledge and have some great projects for your portfolio. And once you finish the decal, you can definitely apply to the training program at WDB or the development branch as either a developer or designer. This is definitely a very good way to apply to our club. And also, if you're interested in teaching, please consider become a course staff or even instructor to spread your love for web development. And also to give us a chance to expand the decal a little bit. Cool. And now let's open up the floor. What technology and skill set are you eager to learn this semester? what's something you've always wanted to build, and what do you hope to gain out of this semester from the decal? Feel free to write down your answer in the chat. And if you have any questions, let us know as well. We will also have a Git demo after this, so please don't leave the lecture yet. And feel free to unmute yourself if you just want to speak. Okay, Mira, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, but Mira say something in chat. They said that they're excited about learning React. I've heard a lot about it. Yes, that's very good to hear. It seems like you already kind of like have a choice for the development branch that you're going to, which is great. I want to learn how to, Kelly said I want to learn how to make websites pretty. Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely go over some tricks and tips on how to make your website prettier. I've also wanted to make my own personal website. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the first project that you'll be doing is to make your own personal website. Node.js, yeah, for sure. This will be the realm of the backend branch. So yeah, looking forward to teaching Node as well. I'm excited to find out whether more front or backend oriented. Yeah, of course. And yeah, I feel like this decal also kind of like gives you the opportunity to explore different branches.
Alex,
yeah.
Alex, can we do like like an informal poll? Like if you think you might, like if you're coming in more inclined towards backend, maybe hit the yes button because backend's awesome. And if you're more inclined towards front end, maybe hit the no button because
Okay, Drew, get out of here.
If you're unsure, then the forward button. I'm just curious to see what people are thinking in
I won't
general.
stand for this front end slander that's happening here.
Wait, let's not do no for backend. No for front end.
Okay, let's do thumbs up for front end.
Yeah. I'm trying to create a poll, but
or actually no, do go forward for do speed up for front end and backwards for unsure.
I cannot believe we're not doing backwards for backend.
That's just politics. Okay.
yeah, there's a yeah, wait, what's backend again? Backend is essentially kind of like building a server. So for the front end, it's all the fancy stuff that you're seeing on the website, and backend is more about kind of like the business logic and handling the database, and also how to deploy your website on the cloud. This is a very
cloud database. Yeah. How do we make requests? Things like that. Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting.
Okay, Roman said, I feel like backend won't matter if the front is so bad, no one will use it. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Very true, actually. That is a really good point.
All right, cool. I hope you all have taken a look at the participants tab because I haven't. I was like looking at chat. But yeah. All right, let's see what else. Yeah, let's not talk about Git. We do need to teach something in the first lecture. So let's talk about Git. Wally told me backend, so I'm backend. All right. Yeah, Wally is making the backend homework right now, I believe. Yeah. Okay, yeah, what's Git? So Git is a version control system used to store snapshots of data and manage code versions. With Git, multiple developers can work on one project together and not interfering with each other. And this is super useful for individual developers as well. So you should definitely learn. And if you take courses like 61A or 61B, I believe they cover Git in their courses as well. But yeah, we'll cover Git again in the lecture. And I guess we can talk about Git a little bit more detail because snapshot this is kind of like abstract. But essentially, if you think of the process of writing code, usually when people start to write code, when people start to coding, you can't like finish all the code like in a day, right? So usually like for the first day, you will work on this navigation bar. And for the next day, we'll turn our attention to maybe the search engine. And this is a pretty long process. And also we will be usually working with the other developers. And so how Git work is that once you finish the navbar on the first day, you can use a list of commands to make sure your code is uploaded to a website. And this way, if your computer just crash or like stolen, your code can also be secured. And you can also download your code somewhere else. And yeah, and once you reach the second day, if your computer is stolen, unfortunately, and you get a new computer, and then you can just do git pull to pull all the code back into your new computer. So that's pretty neat. And then after the second day, say you finish the search engine, you can push your search engine code onto the cloud again. And this way ensures you to always have the latest copy of your code on the cloud. And also with Git, multiple developers can work on one project at the same time. So how this works is that, so for instance, if Alex is working on the navbar and Bob is working on the search engine, and say Alex has pushed has finished the navbar and pushed the code onto the GitHub, and then when Bob is working on the search engine, they can pull once they know Alex finished their part, they can pull Alex code from GitHub into their local computer, and then both code will be merged together, and Bob will have the latest copy of everything. And once Bob finished their search engine part, they can again upload their code onto the GitHub through a list of commands, and this way the cloud will have all the work ready. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, fun fact, if you continue in CS to 61B, you will likely recreate Git for yourself. Yes, that is true. All right. And now let's look at some very useful Git commands. Git init, this is essentially telling the computer. So these commands are all run in local computer, which means like it's run on your computer. And to run all these commands, you need to open up something called a terminal. And essentially, Git init is telling the computer that, okay, you need to keep track of all the files inside this particular folder. And Git init is kind of like saying to the Git, okay, you need to initialize and track everything. And git add file name is essentially to, okay, so once we have several files ready, so which file should we track? You use git add file name to add the file name, to add the files to Git. And once you have added all the files, you can run git commit -m message to store the changes of the file to Git itself. So essentially, when you just track the file, the Git will just know that they need to track all those files, but they won't like commit all the changes. So by running git commit, it will actually store all the changes to the file inside some hidden files from Git. And once you and the commit -m message, -m message is just kind of like a way for you to, it's kind of like a memo line when you're creating a cashier tag. It's kind of like a way for you to remember what you're doing. Yeah. And Git Push Origin main, this is usually used when you have a GitHub account set up and GitHub a repo set up so that you can push all your code to the cloud. All right, now let's get into Git Demo. Actually, before we get into the Git Demo, do we have any questions for all these Git comments? Can you explain the last comment again? Yeah, for sure. So the last comment is Git Push Origin main. This seems a little bit daunting at first, but essentially it's saying that, so Git push, it means that we need to push our code from the local computer to somewhere remote on the website. And usually somewhere remote will be referenced by the origin tab. The origin is kind of like a reference to the place that you are pushing your code to. So say you are pushing your code to GitHub, and then you will link your GitHub repo to your local computer, and you will assign the name origin to it. And so once you do Git push origin, it will push the code to that particular remote repo. And main is essentially the branch name. And this might get a little bit tricky, but we'll see how it plays out during the Git demo, I believe. And yeah, Drew also mentioned in the chat, origin main arguments are the defaults, I believe. Yes, that is correct. That's the default for GitHub, but not Git. A repo is just a place where code is stored, right? Yes. When we mention a repo, it usually refers to a GitHub repo. And GitHub is the website that's owned by Microsoft now. And it's kind of like a place for all the developers to, I mean, not all the developers, but most of the developers to store their code remotely, to kind of like have a secure version of your code stored somewhere else from your computer. Roman asks, when other people post repos on GitHub, is it free for anyone to use? This depends on the repo type that they are posting. So there are two repo types on GitHub. One's called the public, and the other is called the private. And it also depends on the license. Usually, so for instance, there are some open source license, for instance, MIT. MIT license usually have the least constraints. So if you see some repo with MIT license, it means that you can use it freely. But yeah, that's not a legal device, by the way. Do we have any other questions? All right, cool. Now let's get into the Git demo. Oops, I shouldn't stop sharing my screen. But yeah, all right, cool. Can you all see the terminal? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, cool. And right now I'm in this folder called Lecture 0 Demo. And if you haven't used the terminal before, that's completely okay. We will get you familiar right now. So what's a terminal? Terminal is kind of like a way for you to interact with the computer solely based on text inputs. So usually when we interact with the other software, so for instance, Notion, we can click on stuff. And there's some pretty pictures, images around here. For instance, Smart's profile picture. Yeah, it makes user interaction really easy. However, if we are using the terminal, it's a little bit harder because all the inputs are relying on text. You can't like copy and paste pictures into the terminal. So that's the first thing about terminal. And terminal is kind of like a tree structure. So if you do like CD, this will goes to the root of your tree. and it's not technically the root, but it will go to the root of your tree. And inside this, if you tap list, you can, oops, I probably shouldn't, but inside this, essentially it will contain all the files and all the folders inside your computer. But yeah. And so what's CD? The things I'm doing right now is called change directory. So change directory is essentially, you can think of it as opening up a folder. And so right now inside our root directory, we have a folder called webdevatberkeley. And if you do cd webdevatberkeley, it will jump into that folder. And if you do list, so if you do list, you will see all the files and all the folders listed here in the terminal. So what's ls? ls is a shorthand for list. It's essentially listing all the stuff inside the folder. You can think of it as kind of like viewing. When you open up the folder, when you open up the folder, you will see all the things inside the folder. But when you're using a terminal, you need to manually do list. And inside this webdevatberkeley folder, we want to go to the, let's see. We want to go to a lecture 0 demo folder that I just made before a lecture. So let's do cd lecture 0 demo. And you might notice that somehow auto-completes. This is because when I press tab, it will auto-complete itself if it doesn't have any name conflicts. So yeah. And now, okay, now we are inside the lecture 0 demo. So let's try out some Git. So first of all, let's pull up a text editor. I'm using VS Code. And let's try to create a file. Let's call it, I don't know, GitHub test.txt. So this will be a file. And let's create another file called not added GitHub test. Let's also add another one called committed, called added GitHub test.txt. Let's add another one called committed GitHub test.txt. All right, so we have just created 4 files inside the VS Code. And VS Code is essentially a text editor. This is just the same thing as any text editor. It's essentially a way for us to write code. And yeah, some people ask, I download the Atom, GitHub Desktop, Actica while we use this in the course. We mainly support VS Code, but yeah. All right, let's just provide some dummy text into it. Doesn't really matter. All right, cool. So we have some actual content in those files. And now let's try to play around with Git. Okay, so first of all, let's do git init. And if we don't do git init and we try other command first, we'll get this warning. It says not git repo. This is just a warning saying if you see this warning again, you should know that you need to do git init. All right, so after you type git init, you can see there's a big warning message because usually Git used to have master as its name for the initial branch, but this is like not that good, right? So right now people are trying to change it to Git, trying to change it to main. But yeah, let's just change it to main real quick. And this is how you would change a branch name. Branch is essentially kind of like, so if you are on one branch, you can store all your code on one branch. And when you want to like test out some features, you can create a new branch and separate out from that branch. And you can go into that branch and work out some new code. And if you find that feature to be like not appealing at all, you can delete that branch and go back to the previous branch. This is beyond the scope right now, so we won't really go into that right now. If you're interested, please take a look at our Notion page. This will we will go into that in much detail in the Notion page. Is that something like a tree? What was it? Yes, it's pretty much like a tree, I would say. It's kind of like a tree structure or the branch. So.
Is that all of code, or is that just a specific thing?
The branch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, branch is something that's specific to Git, and you can store all your code inside a branch. And usually people do branch because sometimes they want to work on different features at the same time. So for instance, if I'm working on a navbar and I'm working on a search engine, I don't want the two code to like interfere with each other, right? And so I can create a branch called navbar and create a branch called search engine. And while I work on search engine, I can just work on that branch. And when I want to switch to the other branch to work on navbar, I can then switch. But yeah, this is out of scope for the lecture for now. But yeah. All right. And we have already typed Git in there, right? Okay, cool. And now let's try to add some stuff. So as you can see, the second command is called git add. And if you run git status here, git status is essentially a way to kind of like see all the files tracked in your folder, like what's the status on them. And if you type git status, you can see that all those files are called untracked files. This is because we haven't run git add yet. So now let's try to add this file, the added GitHub test. So let's do git add added GitHub test. Okay, and let's do git status again. So as you can see right now, a new file is added and it's removed from the untracked files. And right now it shows up as changes to be committed because we haven't committed the files yet. And actually, let's add the committed GitHub test as well. So let's do that. Git status. As you can see, after we add that, the committed GitHub test is removed from the untracked files into the changes to be committed. And let's leave this to here for now, because I do want to demo some pretty cool feature later. And so right now we have already talked about git add, and now let's see git commit. As you can see here, it says changes to be committed. So essentially it's saying that the files are added, but there are like no changes that have committed. So let's do that. So git commit, git commit, let's actually follow file name, committed GitHub test. Now let's follow it with a message. Let's call world first. Actually, let's just do like initialize file. Wait, what? Oh, initialize. All right. Cool. As you can see, after we run this, it says that one file change and one insertion. One file change simply means that the added GitHub test, the committed GitHub test, used to be like empty, but right now it has something. And the lines of change is included here in the one insertion. And if we run git status again here, as you can see, right now wait.
Okay, hi everyone. Sorry, my headphone just died. But yeah, I'm going to use speaker. Okay, can y'all hear me just fine? Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. And yeah, after we run git commit, you can see that the changes to be committed, this file is like removed from changes to be committed. And let's see, what else do we need to do? Oh yeah, there's also the Git Push Origin main. We'll do that in a second, but we'll do that now. So since we need to do that, let's do GitHub. And so this is a GitHub, this is a website that we have keep mentioned to. And this is where all developers kind of like upload their code. And let's go ahead and create a new repo. So how to create a new repo? First of all, you need to get a GitHub account. After you get a GitHub account, you click on new. Okay, and then let's do lecture 0 demo. Okay, and let's do create repo. All right, and afterwards you can see quite a lot of comments. And since we already have an existing repo, we are going to use this option. So as you can see, it says git remote at origin. We have already changed the name to main, so we don't need to do that again. But yeah, let's do this. So git remote at origin, blah, blah, blah. And git remote -v. As you can see, after we run this command and we do git remote -v, it's essentially git remote -v is this command is essentially doing kind of like view all the remote that you have added. As you can see, a remote called origin is being added, and there are two origin. Actually, there are like kind of like two origins showing, but it's essentially the same thing. But yeah. And once you see this, it's essentially saying that we have successfully connected our local computer, this particular folder, to the GitHub repo. Let me double check the chat. Is there a list of all Git commands that we talk about on Notion? Yes. Different commands based on operating systems. All the commands are going to be the same from within like all operating systems. How do you get the apps to pop up like that? Okay, this is something that's inherent for the MacBook. You just swipe up with like 3 fingers. Just do this. Yeah. All right. And after we add the origin, now we are ready to push our code to GitHub. So let's do git push origin main. All right, cool. Now, as you can see, there's some data push, and let's refresh our browser. And yay, now we have the committed GitHub tags. So people might wondering why there's only like one file pushed to the GitHub. This is because this is the only file that we have committed. To allow we push like all the 4 files to GitHub, we need to add and commit and push all the other files. So let's do that right now. If we run git status, as you can see, we have 2 files to add. However, I don't really want to type like both file names because I'm lazy. So how do I avoid that? We can do git add dot. Dot is essentially saying that we will add everything inside this folder to be tracked. So let's do git add dot, and you can also do git commits, git commit dot -m, and the commit message will be, actually you don't need a dot. The commit is essentially, it will automatically commit everything that you add, and git commit -m, let's just say second commit. All right, cool. As you can see, there are 3 files changed. Why 3 files? Because we have also added like 1 file before. But yeah. Now, if we run git status again, as you can see, it says nothing to commit, working tree clean. And that means we the Git is ready to push all the things up to the cloud. So let's do that, git push origin main. All right, great. And let's refresh the browser. Cool. And now, as we can see, we have 3 other files pushed. And So here are the commit message. It's essentially a way for you to keep track of the work that you have done. But yeah. Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, what's the difference between Git and GitHub? So Git is a kind of like a open source software, while GitHub is a company. And Git is like freely to download, and GitHub, they do provide some enterprise feature. So for instance, if you have like tons of people who want to collaborate on like one repo, then you need to pay Microsoft some money to do that. But Git itself is completely free to use. So yeah. Do we have any other questions? All right, cool. So since we don't have any other questions, that should be the end, right? Okay, yeah. So this is the end of the lecture. And if you have any questions, I'll also be here for another like 7 minutes. And if you want to leave, feel free to go. And thanks a lot for coming. And if you haven't, please reply present in chat so that we can keep track of all the attendance. So yeah. Thank you all for coming to the first lecture, and hope to see you all in the next one. Will you explain all these again when we start our homework or projects? Explain what again specifically? The Git?
Yeah, it was just a lot to just take
Is
in.
the lecture recording posted? It will be posted.
Quick, just to follow up with that. Yeah, if